StudyJesus.com presents Bible Stories, where biblical stories of the ages come alive.
Continuing with our series called The Early Church, we turn to the book of Acts chapter 25, verse 1, going through to chapter 26, verse 32, for another true Bible story titled, The Story That Paul Told to the King.
StudyJesus.com presents Bible Stories with your host, Dr. Joe Jackson. Stories directly from God's holy word, told in easy-to-understand story form that the whole family will enjoy, and featuring the work of a talented artist illustrating each week's story. Now gather the family because it's time for this week's Bible Story.
When Festus, the new governor, came to rule over the land of Judea in the place of Felix, who had kept Paul in prison so long, he went up to Jerusalem to visit that city. And there the chief priests and the leading men spoke to him against Paul, and they asked that he might be sent to Jerusalem to be tried. It was their plan to kill Paul on the way. But Festus the governor told them that Paul should be kept at Caesarea, and that he himself would soon go there. "Let some of your leaders go down with me," said Festus, "and bring your charges against him there, if you have any." When Festus came down to Caesarea, he called them all together, and he sat upon the judge's seat, and he commanded Paul to be brought in. And then the Jews said evil things about Paul, declaring that he had done wickedly, but they couldn't prove any of the things which they spoke against him. And Paul said, "I've done no wrong against the law, nor against the temple, nor against the rule of Caesar the emperor." Festus, like Felix, wished to please the Jews, but he didn't know of their secret purpose to kill Paul. He said, "Are you willing to go up to Jerusalem and there be tried upon these charges before me?" But Paul said, "I'm standing before the Roman court where I ought to be judged. I've done no wrong to the Jews, as you know very well, and no man shall give me into their hands. I ask for a trial before Caesar, the emperor at Rome." It was the law throughout the Roman lands that any free citizen of Rome, as Paul was, could ask to be tried at Rome before Caesar, the emperor. When Festus heard Paul's words, he said, "Are you asking to be tried before Caesar? Then unto Caesar you shall go." So Paul was taken back to the prison at Caesarea to be sent to Rome when his time should come. A few days after this, a Jewish ruler named Agrippa, with his sister Bernice, came to visit Festus. He was called King Agrippa, and he ruled over a part of the land on the east of the river Jordan. While Agrippa and Bernice were at Caesarea, Festus said to them, "There's a certain man left a prisoner here by Felix, of whom the chief priests and elders of the Jews asked when I was at Jerusalem that I should give orders to have him put to death or given into their hands. I told them that the Romans never give judgment against any man until he stands face to face before his enemies and can make answer to their charges. When they came down to this place and the man was brought before them, their charges were not the wicked acts that I expected to hear of. But they had some questions about their ways of worship and about somebody named Jesus who was dead. But Paul said he was alive. As I couldn't understand these questions, I asked Paul whether he'd go up to Jerusalem and there be tried. But Paul asked instead for a trial before Caesar, and I'm keeping him to be sent to the emperor at Rome. I'd like, said Agrippa, to hear this man myself. Tomorrow, Festus said, you shall hear him. So on the next day, Agrippa and his sister Bernice and Festus, with the chief men of the city, and the officers of the army, they all came together in the hall of judgment. And Paul was brought before them, chained to a Roman soldier. And after a few words by Festus, Agrippa said to Paul, "You may now speak for yourself." And then Paul spoke in words like these: "I think myself happy, King Agrippa, to give answer before you of all the things charged against me by the Jews, because I'm sure that you know all the Jewish ways and the questions about the law. I ask you then to hear me. My way of life from my youth all the Jews know, for I've lived among them. And if they tell the truth, they would all say that I was once one of those who kept the laws of our people most carefully. And now I stand here to be judged for the sake of the promise which God made to our fathers, that promise to which our 12 tribes, serving God day and night, hope to come. And on account of this hope, O King, the Jews charge me with doing evil, because I believe that Jesus Christ rose from the dead to be the King of Israel. Why should it be something you cannot believe, that God does raise the dead to life? In former times, I really thought with myself that I ought to do many things against the name of Jesus. And this I did in Jerusalem, for I shut up many good men and women in prisons. And when they were put to death, I gave my voice against them. I caused them to be beaten, and I tried to make them curse the name of Jesus. And being exceedingly mad against them, I sought for them even in cities far away. And as I journeyed to Damascus with letters from the chief priests, at midday, O King, I saw on the way a light from heaven, brighter than the sun, shining around me and those who were with me. And as we all fell down upon the ground, I heard a voice saying to me, "Saul, Saul, why are you fighting against me?" And I said, "Who art thou, Lord?" And the Lord said, "I'm Jesus, whom you're trying to destroy. But rise up and stand up on your feet, for I have shown myself to you to make you my servant and my messenger, to tell of what you've seen and of what you have heard and of what I will show you. I'll keep you safe from the Jewish people and from the Gentiles, to whom I send you, to open their eyes and to turn them from darkness to light and from the power of Satan, the evil one, to God, in order that their sins may be forgiven and that they may receive a reward among those that are made holy by faith in me." O King Agrippa, I didn't disobey the voice from heaven, but first at Damascus, and then at Jerusalem, and throughout all the land of Judea, and also among the Gentiles, I have spoken, telling men to turn from sin to God, and to show deeds of right doing. This is the cause why the Jews seized me in the temple and tried to kill me. Having gained help from God, I stand unto this day, speaking to people small and great, saying only what is given in the law of Moses and in the prophets, that the Christ must suffer and die, and that he, by rising from the dead, should give light to our people and to the Gentiles. While Paul was speaking, Festus said with a loud voice, "Paul, you are mad. Your great learning has turned you to madness." For Festus, being a Roman, knew nothing of Jesus or of the truths which Paul spoke. But Paul said to him, "I'm not mad, most noble Festus. I speak only sober and truthful words. The king knows of these things, and I speak freely to him, None of these things are hidden from him, for these things were not done in secret. King Agrippa, do you believe the prophets? I know that you believe. And Agrippa said to Paul, a little more, and you will persuade me to become a Christian. And Paul said, I would before God that whether with little or with much, that not only you, but also all that hear me this day might become such as I am, except these chains. And after these words, King Agrippa and Bernice and Festus the governor and those who were there went away by themselves, and they said to each other, this man has done nothing deserving of death or prison. And Agrippa said to Festus, this man might have been set free if he hadn't asked to be tried before Caesar.
Precious memories, unseen angels, sent from somewhere to my soul.